Hello and welcome to my channel, Knotty Gnome Crafts. My name is Sarah and you can find me as Knotty Gnome on Instagram. Welcome to Yarn Talk. This is the series where I talk about the yarny things that I've been working on, and I try to bring it every other week, although last week I did skip because I didn't have a lot to show you. So today's actually going to be a relatively short video, but we will be talking about some of my knitting projects, and so if that interests you, please stay tuned. Before we get started, I am wearing the Simplicity 9239 shirt jacket and the Sewaholic Renfrew top, and I do always link the patterns that I mention in the description box below. Okay, so what have I been working on? So I am still working on my undyed spinning project. I'm not going to show it to you because it looks very similar as it did last time. It's a little bit boring. There's no color or anything, so just trust me, I'm still working on that one. So we're just going to skip right ahead to my knitting projects. So I think the last time that I did an episode of Yarn Talk, I mentioned that I was going to start a pair of socks for my husband, and I was going to take that to work, and it was going to be my lunchtime knitting project. So I did do that, and let me show you the progress that I have. I'm just using this little drawstring bag that I made a few years ago. And the yarn that I am using is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply. It is a self-striping yarn. It's 75% wool and 25% nylon. And here is my sock in progress. So I have the leg finished, and I did the normal heel flap, and I added a little garter stitch ridge on the heel flap. And then I've picked up stitches and I have started the gusset shaping. So I actually lucked out on this because I try to say that I'm not OCD about my socks, but there is one thing that really bothers me is when you do a traditional heel flap and gusset, when you go to pick up stitches for the top of the sock again, it drives me absolutely crazy when the stripe pattern gets interrupted by the heel. So I always cut my yarn and then wind it off so that I can have a consistent striping pattern when you start up the front of the foot. But this time I lucked out, and the striping was actually appropriate, that it did line up automatically, so I didn't have to cut or waste any yarn, so that was a happy accident. And I'm debating whether or not I should do contrast toes on this because I think there's only 437 yards in this skein. My husband does not have particularly large feet, but he does like his sock legs to be pretty long. So I'm a little bit worried about having enough yarn. I think that I might go ahead and do a contrast toe just to make sure that I'm not going to run out. But yeah, that's the progress that I made. I actually don't even remember right now how many stitches I cast on. I think probably 76. And I'm using size 0, 2mm ChowGoo circulars, 32-inch circulars. And yeah, just knitting my standard sock, and it's going well. So the next project that I have to share with you is I am still working on my Orchid Cardigan. This is a cardigan pattern by Julia Wilkins, and I'll link it down in the description box. And I'm using Volmisa lace. I don't know the color name because I threw away the tag. So I'm making progress on this, but I think I said last time that it's really boring to work on, and that part is still true. So it's been a little bit slow going because I kind of dread working on it. Dread is a strong word. It's not very fun or exciting to work on, let me just put it that way. But I have made progress. So I actually last night did the 3-needle bind off on the first shoulder, on the right shoulder. So this right front is completely done, and it's seamed at the shoulder, or 3-needle bound off at the shoulder. And then I have the rest of the back and the left shoulder stitches on a holder. And then I am ready to pick up stitches for the left front, and I'm ready to work the left front. And actually, now that I'm on the fronts, it does go much faster because obviously the rows are shorter, and you actually decrease so they get even shorter. And so I do think that I should be able to shortly work up this left front and join the other shoulder. And then once that is done, I think the rest of it will actually be less painful because the sleeves, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, the sleeves are knit in stockinette stitch. And I think the button band is like a rib. I don't think you do brioche on the button band. So most of the brioche part is done, which is the part that's so boring. So I still really want this cardigan. I think that I'm gonna love it when I'm finished. But as I stated, it is a little bit boring to work on. Oh, and these needles are Haya Sharp interchangeables. They're the 5-inch ones, and I'm using size 3, which is 3.25 millimeter. I do try to link the set that I bought in the description box below. So I did get out one older project to work on because I was so bored with the red sweater. I actually took several days off from working on it just because I needed a break. And so I got out this, rather than starting something new, I got out this old project that has been around since 2016. I did look it up and I started it in December of 2016. So it's been on the needles for a really long time. And it is my scrappy mitered square blanket that I am working on for my niece. So my goal for this, honestly, is just to make sure that I finish this and get it to her before she goes off to college. And she's 10 right now, so I have a few years left. But as I said, I've been working on this for a really long time. There's absolutely no way I'm going to be able to show the whole thing. I'll try to insert a picture that I posted to Instagram so you can see a little bit more of it. But so this blanket is actually knit with the squares on point. So I'm doing 31 stitch squares, which makes the squares about 2.5 inches in size. And then I'm actually working it in rows across the diagonal. So I'm trying to rotate it so you can see. So I'm actually working the squares like in rows this way rather than doing it this way, because doing it this way is a little bit more fiddly. And if I can find my stitch marker, I did mark where I started. Oh, here it is. So this, turn it around the right way. So this marker here, this is the first new square that I put on. And so I did, wait, did I go this way or this way? I did this way. So I did this, starting at this marker, I did this whole row at the top here, all the way to the end. And I am adding these little half squares as I go so that the blanket gets squared off as I go. And then I flipped it over to the opposite side. And I also have added this row, partial row right here at the top. So that's what I'm doing. When I started the blanket, I actually started with the longest row going 45 degrees down the center. And then I add a row on the top and then turn it upside down and add a row on the bottom. And so the blanket grows from the middle out, if that makes sense. And that's pretty much all I've been working on. I love mitered square blankets. I think that it's probably my favorite type of scrap blanket. I've already made one that I completed that we have here. And I honestly think that if I ever finish this one, I'll probably just start another one because I just really like them. So there's no way I'm going to remember what all of these yarns are. But yeah, this is my mitered square blanket. I use number 3.25 millimeter signature stiletto straight needles. It was a little treat to myself. I don't have them here to show you, but those are the needles that I use for this blanket. So that's really all the projects that I have to share with you today. I think that if I keep working on the Orchid Cardigan, I don't know if I'll be finished by the next time that I have a yarn talk, but hopefully I should be pretty close. That's the goal anyway. And yeah, I think that's all I have to share for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate that you take time out of your day to watch my videos. If you like this, I hope you'll hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. I'll see you again next time.